Hello, I'm Jonathan Dunksy, author of the Adam Lapid Mysteries. On this channel, I often talk about books that I read and enjoyed, and today I'd like to tell you about Deepwater by Patricia Highsmith. Deepwater is a psychological thriller published in the 1950s, and Patricia Highsmith was a very successful and well-known author who wrote some classical works in crime fiction, such as Strangers on a Train and the Tom Ripley novels that you may have heard about or even seen movies about. Deepwater is not as well known as some of her other creations, but among the several novels of her that I read so far is the book that I enjoyed the most. So let me tell you a bit about the novel and what's it about. Deepwater is set in a small town in the United States, and the main character is a guy by the name of Vic Van Allen. Vic is married to Melinda, a woman who is blatantly unfaithful to him. She has affairs after affairs, always switching lovers, switching men. And this is something that is sort of open and well known in their small town among their circle of friends. She does absolutely nothing, makes no effort to hide this. And Vic pretends, acts as though that he doesn't really mind that much what she does. They not only have this sort of semi-open marriage, they have a loveless marriage. They sleep in separate rooms. They don't really show a lot of affection for one another. But for some reason, neither Melinda nor Vic attempts to divorce each other. Vic is the main character of the book. The story is told from his viewpoint, and he is a very strange man indeed. Not just the way that he tolerates his wife's unfaithfulness, but also in his habits, in the way that he thinks. For instance, he raises bed bugs and slugs in a sort of a workroom that he has set up in his garage. He is interested in a lot of sort of esoteric fields. He is a man who has an independent income, an inherited income, and he runs a small press in which he publishes sort of obscure books, packages them very finely, but this business doesn't really make money. It's just something that he does because he wants to. It's not entirely clear whether Vic is a complete psychopath or someone sort of on the verge of being described as one, but he is a man whose emotions are not well defined. He seems to be well in control of himself, but occasionally his emotions flare up and he does violent things. But he's also described as a very good man. For instance, he and Melinda have a child, have a girl, and he is the more devoted parent. She is not a devoted mother at all, but he is a very devoted father. He is a good friend. He is someone who treats his employees very fairly. So he is not the sort of psychopath that we see more in modern novels, in which the psychopath is this cruel and completely evil human being. Vic seems a very good human being, a very good man, but the way that his relationship with Melinda causes certain flare-ups in his actions. So in the beginning of the novel, we get to see Vic and Melinda being very flirtatious, and it's quite clear that she's having an affair with someone, and she even brings her lovers to sort of dinner parties with her and Vic's friends. And she makes as I said, she makes no attempt to hide the fact that she is involved with these other men. So Vic, in the beginning of the novel, he talks with this current lover, and he says to him that he killed one of Melinda's former lovers. She had a lover who has since moved away to another city, and he was then murdered by someone, and that person has never been caught. The murderer has never been caught. So Vic, sort of as a half joke, tells this lover that, you know, he should be careful because he killed Melinda's former lover, and this rumor sort of spreads among their friends and in the town, and most people don't really take that too seriously, but some people do. And so this is the beginning of the novel, and things develop from there into actual crimes, because Vic did not murder that former lover, but he will do certain criminal acts as the novel proceeds. What makes the novel so effective is the subdued way in which Highsmith injects weirdness into the character of Vic Van Allen and into the life that he shares with Melinda. There is nothing, you know, too blatant about his sort of craziness, or the way that he deals with his emotions, the resentment that he feels towards his wife for having these affairs, even though he pretends that her actions, her behavior doesn't affect him at all. So, and as I started the book, I could feel the weirdness sort of, you know, seep into my head with every sentence that I read, and it was always done very delicately, but you sort of get the weirdness sort of ratchets up with each page as you proceed through the book. So I quite enjoyed that, because I thought it was very well done. It was artistically and very effective. It wasn't just, you know, it didn't just plunge you into the weirdness. It sort of brought you into it very gradually and slowly increased it, and you get the sense, sort of this uncomfortable sense of being around sort of something very strange and bizarre, but it was done in such a subdued way that it made it more real than many other stories and novels about psychopaths and many other psychological thrillers that I read recently. So this is, and the book is written, the writing is terrific. The descriptions of the characters and the way that they talk is very well done. You sort of get the feeling of, from the way that characters act and talk, who they are, what their nature is, and Vic Van Allen is a sort of character that you get to like in a way, but he does keep you at arm's length because he's so strange. So this is a very effective psychological thriller of the kind that I've not really read before, because, as I said, most modern thrillers or psychological thrillers tend to be more, let's say, less subdued in the way that they portray the craziness or the cruelty or just the malicious nature of their villains. And many psychological thrillers tell the story from the viewpoint of the victim. And in this case, the story is told from the viewpoint of Vic Van Allen, who is the villain, but he is not such a villain that you sometimes wonder, is he a villain or is he a victim of Melinda's unfaithfulness? Does he do what he does, you know, the bad things that he does, just because he's put under a lot of pressure and under a lot of humiliation because of the way that she acts with other men? So the story has more layers and is much more complex, psychologically complex, than many other psychological thrillers that I read. So this gets my highest recommendation. Of course, it is dated in a way because the book is almost 70 years old, I think. So, people play records. A dollar can buy you more than it can buy today, and such things. But you didn't get the sense that this was a book that couldn't be enjoyed today, and I, as I said, I enjoyed it quite a bit. So the setting is dated, but the writing isn't. If you get what I'm saying. So as I said, this gets my highest recommendation. If you're looking for a psychological thriller that is more than many psychological thrillers that are published today, I think this is a terrific choice. You can find a link in the description below to where you can buy a copy of the novel. And let me know in the comments if you read Deepwater, or if you read any other Patricia Highsmith novels, or watched any of the movies based on her novels. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.